Hello and welcome to today's video. Today is the start of a series of 3 videos I'm going to produce over 3 days, which are an exploration of 3 pens by Hongdian. Now, I got these 3 and I was just going to make one video about all 3, but you know what? They're actually really solid pens and I think they all deserve a little review of their own. So I'm doing mini reviews of each of them. Now, I'm recording these all as one batch, so there will be some overlap in material, but each pen will be spoken about and shown in a writing sample and all of those kinds of things. Today we are starting with this, the A6. So the A6 is a skeleton piston filling pen, and you can see the metal overlay there representing some vines and leaves and all that kind of stuff. This is the jet black version. It also comes in a silver blue and a gold version. This is kind of like a gunmetal silver kind of color, which I really enjoy. This has a number 6 size steel nib on it. It's the Hongdian nib and plastic feed and housing and all of that kind of stuff. As I said, it is a piston filler. I won't be showing the filling mechanism because it is filled with ink, but basically you turn this knob and a piston runs up and down in the pen, and when that is submerged in a bottle of ink and you do that, it draws ink up into the pen. There are many videos about this filling system going around. It is a screw cap pen and it comes off in one turn, and it reveals a metal section there that has a couple of grooves on it, which actually really helps stopping it feel slick in the hand. I've not had any problem with this pen whatsoever. If you have particularly sweaty hands or particularly dry hands, you may want to think about these grip sections, but for me, this one feels really good. The top of the pen has a little symbol underneath a acrylic dome there, and it says Hongdian A6, which is the model number. It's a relatively sort of flat semi-domed cap, a couple of step downs, this arrow clip which is springy but usable, cylindrical body, center cap there, or center band, sorry, that has a pattern on it, and then as I said, the body continues along, and then you get the piston knob on the end there. The threads are all very smooth, and the piston works beautifully. I've had no problems with this pen with hard starting or anything like that, so obviously the seal is quite good, and it has an ink capacity with that piston mechanism of about 1.5 milliliters. So this is a pretty decent sort of pen. Number 6 steel nib means it's got a nice size in the hand as well, away from the page. And I have this in a fine nib, and it writes a beautiful fine line. Not super fine, but also probably closer to a Western fine, I would say. But very nice. Time for a size comparison now with these 3 Hongdian pens and the traditional Lamy Safari, of course. So we've got the N10, the A6, and the N7 here, and then the Lamy Safari. You can see in terms of size, the N10 is the longest, followed by the A6, and the N7 there is the shortest. And the Lamy Safari kind of splits the difference in this capped form. Uncapped, those proportions basically remain the same, with the Lamy Safari sort of splitting the difference. It's now a little longer there than the A6. All of these pens are considerably longer here than the N7, and the N10 there being the longest, and of course with that number 8 size nib, this is a great view of it alongside the other standard number 6 size Hongdian nibs. Technically, all of these pens post. The A6 and the N10 there being quite long, and they post onto the piston turning knob, which is not my favorite form of posting. The N7 here is probably the most successful posting and probably the best balance posted, but for me the balance is better with most of these pens writing with them unposted, because they are all fairly heavy pens. They're metal pens, and I'll go over the individual dimensions in a second, but I think the N7 is probably the best of the posted pens out of this lot. Now let's talk the dimensions here. So with the Hongdian A6, it's 140 millimeters when it is capped. It's 128 when it is uncapped, and it's 170 when it's posted. But as I said, it posts on the end there, and it also makes a very long pen, but it makes it a heavy pen. The pen weighs 45 grams in all, 27 in the body and 18 in the cap. So you are putting a lot of weight back on the end of the pen there. The section of the pen is about 11 millimeters there in the middle, and it's about 14.9 around the end of the cap. So it's a nice size pen, and I think it is particularly well balanced and a particularly nice feel in the hand when it is unposted. Time for a writing sample now with the Hongdian A6. This has a number 6 steel fine nib. The ink I have in this today is from Van Diemen's ink. And this is their collaboration with the Tasmanian stationery store Flywheel. And this is Printing Press Grey. This is a beautiful ink. I really enjoy this ink. It's a nice sort of dark, almost browny, sort of nickel-y grey. Writing sample. This is a very pleasant nib. For a fine, it's not super fine. As I said, it's probably closer to a like a Western fine. The pen writes wet enough. It's not a dry pen by any stretch of the imagination. Reverse writing, it's not putting down a whole lot of ink, but it is possible. It's not a soft nib, but there is a little bit of, well, a little bit of railroad there, trying to flex it out. But there is like a little bit of a bounce on the nib there. Just like, I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick that up, but like just a slight like little suspension on the nib. It's not soft, but it's not a stiff nail of a nib either. Quick writing. So there are a few little hard starts and skips and things in the quick writing, but that is quicker than most people will ever be writing with this pen. In everyday writing, general writing, this pen writes more or less under its own weight. It writes nicely and smooth and fairly wet. It's just a lovely writer. The Hongdian A6 with that Hongdian number 6 size steel fine nib there. Very, very nice. Now, before we talk about the pros and cons, I want to talk about the packaging that the pens come with. Now, so I got 3 pens in one shipment, and I got 3 very distinctly different forms of packaging for those pens. Now, that is all well and good. I don't mind that so much. I don't buy the pens for the packaging. I just kind of found this interesting. The N10 here came in a little Ziploc bag. The N7 here came in a tiny little cellophane plastic sleeve, and the A6 came in a beautiful box. And in this box, I'll show you now because I might as well, we got like a little wrench and instructions and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's a nice little package. What's really funny about this is that the quality of the packaging, so let's say this is the best packaging, followed by this and then the cellophane sleeve, is the reverse of the pen price. What I paid for these pens is the reverse of these. Now, I'll talk about the individual pen prices in their own videos. I just wanted to mention this here. So now let's talk about some pros and cons for the Hongdian A6. I really only have one con for this pen, and it's not a problem for me, but I think it will be for some people, and that is the tactile feel of the pen in general. Some people don't like the feeling of things under their hands. This metal overlay is definitely something you feel. It's not built into the acrylic, it's on top of the acrylic and you feel it for sure. I think there are a lot of pros with this pen. I'm going to focus on 3 things. Firstly, the build quality of the pen. The threads are all beautifully made. Everything is well done. The piston mechanism feels great. It's amazing value for this pen. The second thing I want to talk about is the feel in the hand. Like, for me, the way this pen feels, those little grooves on the section, the threads there, it's all very comfortable and it's a lovely pen to write with. I've written with this a lot. This was my carry pen for a number of weeks. I just really enjoy it in my hand. It feels great. And then the other thing, while there were a couple of little hard starts on the nib, The feeling of the nib on the page, that little bit of bounce, that suspension, feels beautiful to write with. And so a pen at this price point, and I got this pen including delivery for $38 Australian, which I think is a great price for a pen of this quality. There are a number of brands doing these sort of skeleton overlay pens now, and that's awesome. I quite like the look of them. But for $38, I don't think you're going to find a better option. This has got a nice weight to it. It's a good size. It writes relatively well. The Hongdian A6. In my book, this is a winner. This is, for me, the favorite of the Hongdian pens I have had a chance to look at. As I said, it's the first of the reviews. There'll be 2 more over the next 2 days. So yeah, but this is the Hongdian A6. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all of that kind of stuff. If you have products you think I should be looking at, or if there is a way you would like to support the channel, I would love to hear from you. It's your support that makes this channel possible. And it was your suggestion that, well, multiple suggestions, countless suggestions, that I look at Hongdian pens that led me to getting these. So thank you. And yes, a big thank you for watching and supporting my channel. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.